Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Luke, a CFA Charterholder. Today we're going to be discussing shareholder and debt holder payoffs. So this is one of the topics in the corporate issuers section of the level 1 material. We'll run through what the different payoff diagrams look like visually and explain them. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, let's define what the value of a company actually equals. So the value of a company is equal to the sum of its equity and the value of its debt. So quite simply, we're saying that V equals VE plus VD, where V equals the value of the firm VE equals the equity value, where equity value is just a posh name for the value of all of the company's outstanding shares. Then VD, which is the debt value, which is the fixed value of all of the company's outstanding debt. So quite simply, the value of a firm, the value of a company, is equal to the value of all its shares plus the value of its debt, all of its outstanding debts. That's a very simple way to think about how you would value a company. So yeah, let's park that for the moment and move on to the payoffs. So when it comes to debt holder, shareholder payoffs, the illustration on the right hand side shows how shareholder payoffs and debt holder payoffs evolve as the value of the company changes. Specifically, this is how the payoffs look if the company is solvent. So on the x-axis, we've got the firm value, which we just defined on the previous slide, so V. And on the y-axis, we have the payoff. So the shareholder payoff and the debt holder payoff. So if the company is solvent, let's firstly be clear on what that means. So we're saying the company is solvent in this scenario. If the company is solvent, that means that the value of the firm, so the value of the firm, V, is greater than the debt value. So firm value V is greater than the debt value. And if the firm value is greater than the debt value, what's the difference? So the difference is telling us that the shareholder value or equity value, VE, must be positive, because we know that V equals VE plus VD. And if V is greater than VD, that means that V minus VD must be greater than 0. And therefore the equity value is greater than 0. So if you go back to the graph, we know that we have this positive shareholder value component here. So that means that the shareholder payoff is going to be positive. There's going to be value going to the shareholder, because the debt holder is going to be able to be paid in full on a bankruptcy scenario. So their payoff is fixed, and the shareholder is due whatever goes over that fixed amount. And it's unlimited, right? The shareholder payoff is unlimited because if the firm is solvent, then if the firm's value increases, the shareholder payoff will increase linearly. So we could in theory keep going up, right? The shareholder payoff is unlimited if the company's solvent. The payoff is a function of whatever the company's valuation is over the debt value. So it's potentially unlimited, whereas the debt holder payoff is capped at the value of the debt. Even if the firm value increases higher and higher, the debt holders cannot earn any more than the value of their debt. Their returns are capped at the interest and principal payments promised to them by the company. So yeah, the debt holder is capped, the debt holder payoff is capped, whereas the shareholder payoff is uncapped. So debt holder upside is limited to the value of the debt, whereas shareholder payoff and shareholder returns are completely uncapped. Shareholder returns are unlimited. So that is the payoff for a solvent company. So what happens if the company is insolvent? So if a company is insolvent, this means that the company value, V, will be lower than the debt value. So V is less than VD. So the firm value is less than the debt value. And this will mean that the shareholder value, i.e. the equity value, is zero. So the shareholders will lose their entire investment. Their shares are worthless. All available assets will be distributed to the debt holders. So whatever's left, whatever value is left in the company in terms of assets, will be liquidated and the cash proceeds will be paid to the debt holders. The debt holders won't receive their entire investment amount, VD, but they'll get whatever's left, they'll get V. So whatever the company value is will be passed on to them. And that's, we'll have a look at this in a moment on the graph on the right hand side, but the debt holder payoff is less than the full firm value. So this is like all the assets in the company. So the debt holders aren't receiving what's fully owed to them, but they're receiving what they can. Because the company's insolvent, the value of the firm is less than the value than what's owed to them. So they're just basically claiming whatever they can. Yeah, so there isn't enough assets within the company to repay the entirety of the debt value. The lenders recover whatever value they can through a bankruptcy. And again, there's absolutely nothing. So equity value equals zero. So shareholder payoff equals zero. So in a insolvency scenario like this, the equity value is nil and the shareholder payoff is nil. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we've seen the payoff diagrams, one form of the payoff diagrams. Now let's look at the same concept through a slightly different lens. So to summarise, both debt holders and equity holders have asymmetric payoffs. So what does that mean? We'll find out in a second as the value of the company changes. So we can look at this for both debt and equity holders by thinking about the payoff as being asymmetric as well. So again, put firm value on the x-axis and let's do debt holders first. So debt holder payoff on the y-axis. So, and let's look at this in two halves. So let's split the firm value into greater than the debt value. So this will be when the company is solvent. So when V is greater than VD. And then we can also look at it when the company is insolvent. So let's sketch out the payoff in these two scenarios. So how does the debt holder payoff evolve when the company's insolvent and when it's solvent? So we're basically combining the two charts from the previous two slides. So for debt holders, their payoff increases linearly as the firm value increases from 0 up until the point where the value of the company equals the value of the debt. So remember from this slide, in the insolvency case, so the debt holder payoff increases when the company is insolvent linearly until we get to the value of the debt. So in this range, when the value of the firm is less than the value of the debt holders receive whatever assets are available to the firm as the firm is insolvent. And once the firm value increases above the value of the debt, there's no further upside available to the debt holder. So when the company is solvent, the debt holder payoff is capped. They can't receive more than the interest and principal payments guaranteed in the debt agreement. So that's when the company's solvent, it's the shareholders that are receiving the additional upside as the company value increases. The debt holders are capped. So when it's solvent, debt holders' returns are capped and their payoff is capped. Whereas when it's insolvent, there's linear upside. Okay, so that's the debt holders. This is what we mean by an asymmetric payoff. Debt holders experience some upside when the company's value is increasing when it's insolvent, but once the company becomes solvent, there's no upside for them. And now let's think about this from the perspective of the shareholder. So shareholder payoff. Firm value. And again, let's split this into two. So we have VD. So this is when the company is solvent. So when V is greater than VD, and then here we have when the company is insolvent. So V is less than VD. So when the company is insolvent, equity value is 0. The shareholder payoff is 0 because the only value that the firm has in terms of its assets is going entirely to the debt holders. So again, we flip back to this insolvency case. There's no shareholder payoff. So when the company's insolvent, the shareholder payoff is 0. But once the firm is solvent and its value surpasses the value of the debt, the shareholder payoff increases linearly with unlimited upside potential. So this is a bit like a call option payoff if you've studied derivatives before. When the company is insolvent, the shareholders receive nothing. When the company is solvent, the shareholder payoff is a linear function of the increase in company value, and the shareholder payoff is unlimited. Again, we go back to the very first slide, you can see the shareholder payoff is uncapped. Once you go past the value of the debt, the equity value increases linearly and the shareholder payoff increases linearly. Yeah, so these are the two payoff diagrams. You have your shareholder payoff, which to me is like a call option. And then you have your debt holder payoff, where you have linear upside when the company's insolvent and no further upside when the company is solvent. That's what this part of the reading is trying to get to. You need to be able to sort of interpret and understand what these payoff diagrams mean, the fact that shareholders have unlimited upside, whereas debt holders have limited upside. That's really the key conclusion. That's, if I was to summarize these two slides in a sentence, it would be that debt holders receive partial repayment when the company is insolvent, but have capped upside when the company is solvent, whereas equity holders receive nothing if the company is insolvent and receive unlimited upside as the company value increases over and above the value of the debt and the company becomes solvent. Cool, so hopefully that was helpful. It was not the easiest topic, I have to say, but hopefully that made a bit of sense. Any questions, feel free to fire them off in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.